This Starrcast show, just like all of our Starrcast shows, are available at adfreeshows.com.
Yeah.
So, 1999, you guys have a rematch in Poughkeepsie, New York, the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. I think it's Hardcore Heaven is the name of the show. And that's the famous scene where Jerry gets knocked off the apron, you smash your face.
I call that the concrete facial.
Yeah. So that match becomes like one of the iconic moments for ECW. In fact, when ECW goes on TNN, that's the match they use. The first match that's ever seen on ECW TV nationally is that match. What are your memories of that? And then when that moment happens, how much changes on the fly? Because I thought you were dead when you hit the mat, when they hit the concrete that night. I really did.
I wanted to be dead. It hurt so bad. People say, well, what about that match when you were knocked out cold? I said, I wasn't knocked out cold. I wish I was. I wouldn't have felt all the pain, but I was in a world of hurt. I thought my head was in two pieces. And I'm laying there, and I forget, who was the ref? Was it?
I think it was Finnick. I think it was Molyneux.
Okay. He came over to check on me. He says, are you okay? I said, no, I'm effed up. I said, give me a minute. And so Rob was great at stalling. So thankfully, because then he came back and he says, are you okay? I said, no. I said, tell him to roll me in the ring and pin me. Because and that was the third time that month I broke my nose. Oh. So, and then this time, I had to go get stitches and whatever. But by the time Rob picked me up and put me on the apron, I said to Rob, I said, F it, let's finish. So the pain had started subsiding finally. So
that is tough. That is a level of tough few men will ever achieve, by the way.
It was either tough or stupidity. I don't know.
Now, there's an urban legend. There's a story that's passed around about that. Is that when you went to the back after the match, everyone was praising you, and you were like, "That sucked."
I remember, we did the high five, and I'm walking to the back, and as soon as I get through the curtain, Paulie's there, and he goes, "That was the greatest match I've ever seen." And I looked at Paulie, and I go, I hated it. It sucked. And I just kept on walking, and Nova goes, come on, Jerry, let's go outside and get some air. And then when I watched it later, I went, it wasn't that bad after all.
Obviously, in the moment, an injury sucks. But when you look at it later and you watch the tape and you're healed, is it better? And it's never good that you get injured. But when it adds to the flavor of the match and adds to the moment, and people start to talk about it 20 years later, when you look back on it, is it worth going through that pain in hindsight?
Oh, Lord, that's a good question. I don't know, because I probably had a concussion, because I hit hard. Even Lance took me to the hospital emergency room, and we get in there, and I told the doctor what happened, and she goes, did you ever lose consciousness? And I said, no. And she goes, well, we don't need any x-rays. And I'm thinking, what? And, so I just got 4 stitches and then send me on my way. But
I've heard Jerry say that recently, that he wasn't knocked out. And before he said that, I actually remembered it like I thought that he was knocked out. But either way, you need some time, then you just buy some time, and regardless of what the condition that they're in, if they need some, that's just what you. But I think the fans would be surprised at how often somebody does get knocked out, because like I said before, it's so different now, and everyone thinks they understand it and make it look easy, and it's like
years ago, before all this research, we would just go, wow, I got my bell rung, but you go work the next night, that you didn't know.
But I mean, like during my matches, there's been a few times I could write a list where I kick somebody, boom, especially if I catch it behind the ear and they just drop. And, you're like, dude, now what am I going to do? There's been times where...
You run around and do this.
Yeah.
I was going to say, go to the thumbs.
One time I kicked Matt Stryker, and this was on TV, and it knocked him like silly, but he was like, I picked him up, and he was like out on his feet, and he was going, bah, 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 bah. And I was just like, hey, I smacked him in the face. Yeah, right? Okay, good. Bam. I went and I tagged. But like, it happens sometimes, and more often than you would think. One time in Japan, Sabu and I were wrestling Jackie Fulton and Jungle Jim Steele, and Sabu, same thing. I kicked Jim. It's always my kicks. It seems like common denominator with these knockouts, but. Big Jim Steele is 285-pound bodybuilder, and he was out at the Corcoran Hall. And Corcoran Hall, there's 2,000 people, but it's this loud.
Yeah.
in between everything. It's so quiet, you can hear everything. And he's in the ring on his back going snoring. And then Jackie, his partner, comes in and we're like playing tug of war with him, you know, really trying to scoot him over, but trying to get him the fuck out of the way. And you know, you gotta improvise. People like to say, I know it's scripted. Have you seen a wrestling script? I don't think I have.
No.
Okay.
It's
Maybe they do that now. I don't know, but I don't think I've ever seen a script, and Jerry hasn't either.
That could be your next film, Rob Van Dam looking for the Holy Grail.
I have seen some movie scripts.
There you go. You've been in a couple of movies, too.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.